everybody. Thank you, sir, for your services. First of all, today is actually National Airborne Day, so I'm supporting all my fellow brothers in the silk. Listen, this is a big race. Senator Brown talked about this already on the Senate side, but literally the control of Congress is up for grabs. You might have seen that there's redistricting happening in Texas. There's some people retiring. And so I was in the White House about a month and a half ago, and they told us that CD1, little old CD1 here in New Hampshire, is one of the top 5 strategic House seats in the entire country, because they think that this is going to be pivotal, not only for control of the Senate, but for control of the House. And so we have to get together, and we have to mobilize, and we have to create some real cohesion here. I got in this race last cycle a little bit late, but I felt like I was almost like a political refugee, so to speak. I felt like an orphan. We had no representation. And one of the initial bugs for me to start thinking about, do I even really want to run, was as Anne Marie said, I have a facility management company. I started that company 7 years ago this very day. I was fired from my last job. I was running a company for private equity, and they were cooking the books. They were double counting about 30% of the revenue, and they wanted me to sign off on it to do an acquisition for another company in Allentown, Pennsylvania. And I knew about it, and I said, oh, this is wrong. And they ended up firing me. They fired our financial manager, and they fired the chief business officer who knew this was going on. And I said, you know what? And the crappy part was I was in a company car, and I had to take an Uber home from Portland, Maine. And I was like, on that way home, I said, never again am I going to let somebody else put the fate of my family in their hands. So I started this company, American Facilities Professionals. My first job, I put 111 ceiling tiles in up in Waterville, Maine. 4-hour drive up, worked through the night, drove back and put like $400 or $500 in my pocket. And no debt, no equity investors. I just bootstrapped this company. I took that $400 or $500, reinvested it back in the company, did another crappy job, and one crappy job at a time started to build this company. During COVID, we almost went out of business because they shut everything down. I was a fledgling company, less than 2 years old, and decided, you know what, we're going to go in on disinfection, commercial disinfection, and I got smart on this thing called hypochlorous acid. We started making it, and we started doing commercial disinfections all across the country, and that's when we took off. Just 2 weeks ago, we were named by Inc. magazine the 385th fastest growing private company in the United States. And in 7 years, we have a valuation of $250 million.
Wow.
That was from good fiscal responsibility, understanding how basic blocking and tackling works. If you don't have the revenue, you can't exceed that with the expenses. And yet the government and the Democratic Party just looks at us as a blank check. I dropped my kid off yesterday. He's in the Navy. He's going to Korea. So I took him down to Logan, said goodbye to him. On the drive down, I must have hit 30 potholes on I-93. That is a small example of what reckless spending is. They don't even have room to tax mass people anymore. And because of that, with their limited funds, because they've given it all to the illegal immigrants, they don't have room to take care of us and our basic needs. These types of things drive me crazy. And when I look at the people that serve in Congress, they all seem to be there for personal reasons. They're there, I served for Congress in 8 years, now it's time for a promotion to Senate. Or you see different public servants that'll get on these different boards, and then they're nowhere to be seen. I was taught at West Point that you wear your rank on your collar, not for personal gain. You wear it for the people that you have been entrusted to lead. In the Army, officers always eat last. We make sure our soldiers have gone through the chow line. We make sure that they have their tents, everything's set up, and then we go and eat. That's what leaders do. They put themselves last, and they put the people that they're in charge of ahead of their own. When I look at this race, I have broken my platform into 4 major components. The first one, strong economy, strong country. The second one is we need to protect our children. The third is the United States needs to get back to standing for something on the international stage. And the last is a return to normalcy. But what do I mean by that? When I talk about strong economy, if you look at what China is doing to this country, It's terrifying. They have a stated goal to unseat the United States as the sole hegemonic power in the United States. In 2015, Xi Jinping rolled out this thing called the Belt and Road Initiative. I like asking this question. Show of hands, has anybody heard this before, the Belt and Road? Right? That's better, right? Like, we're paying attention, but you'd be shocked about how many people have no idea what this is. It's the Chinese version of the Marshall Plan, and it's just about done. It started in 2015, it's wrapping up, and they have now signed 100-year trade agreements with 50% of the world's GDP and 75% of the world's population. And so when those tariffs came out, the Democrats were crying and saying he's trying to tank the economy, tariffs don't work. Right, they don't work from a financial fiscal perspective, but those tariffs were designed to create leverage against all the small countries that signed on with Belt and Road. And that's why you saw us start to pull back just 48, 72, 96 hours later. The president knows what he's doing. I'll encourage every you, when you go home, get on Amazon and type in blue jeans into the search bar. The first 6, 7, 8 of those companies are Chinese companies. And what they do is the CCP finds a company, they basically back them, and then they say, go ahead and flood the United States with these cheaply made goods. They're trying to erode our manufacturing base. They're manipulating the currency. They're stealing IP. The Chinese have more hypersonic missiles than we do. And between China and Russia, they have 3 of the 4 biggest nuclear weapons. The Chinese have more submarines. And when I was at West Point Cadet in 1994, the Chinese were the first largest army in the world, but they had no force projection capabilities. Today, that's all changed. They're still the largest army in the world, and now they can take that anywhere. And if Russia and China collectively fired all their missiles at the United States, we have 7 minutes of defense. That's a fact. So they are not only saying they want to unseat us, they are saying they want to be the largest army and be more powerful than the United States by 2039. They're doing it. And we have not had leadership in Washington that stood up to them until now. Same thing with Iran, continuing to build a nuclear weapon right under our noses. And this was the right time to strike, because Iran and the Houthis and Hamas, Hezbollah, they were all diminished. Russia's engaged in a war with Ukraine. North Korea is helping them. This was the time to do it. And if we had Democratic leadership, they would not have had the courage to do this. We need strong Republican leaders that understand the different implications. I understand this stuff. I still serve. I'm a Army Reserve Civil Affairs officer. We are the geopolitical and diplomatic arm of the Special Forces. So I'm on airborne status, and our job is to go into hostile or denied territory and start to make inroads so that our soldiers can go into these areas and do the work of the American people. This race is going to come down to experience. Who is going to be able to beat a Shaheen when it comes to the general election? A political powerhouse in this state that has already raised $2 million. It's going to take someone with experience, somebody that can talk the talk, and that can take what we have to do and stand up to these people, because the very future of our children is at stake. So I would ask for your vote. chrisbright.org is our website. We've got some literature, we've got some signs. Please feel free to talk to me afterwards. I'm happy to go deeper on some policy. Thank you again for doing this. Really appreciate it. If we could do this type of stuff and come together as a team, 5 people on a basketball court, but if we come together as a fist and strike as one, we can be really, really powerful. So thank you all. Have a great day today. I've got 4 other events, so we're going to stick around for a little bit after, but we'll probably head out in about an hour. So look forward to chatting with you all. Thank you.